Greetings and peace. I would like to start this with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be with you and yours. And Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Today's presentation is a book review by Brother Saliym Hakiym of Prince Hall Lodge number 57. His book, The Hidden Language of the Craft, which is a collection of esoteric lectures on Masonic symbolism, history, and black culture. It is available on the Book Patch website, and I will put the link in the description below. I represent myself only, and I hope you enjoy this. Also, a disclaimer that this presentation is designed exclusively for educational, free speech, and entertainment purposes. And the goal is basically to analyze Masonic lessons and basically spark that intellectual curiosity for inner reflection and application and how you could apply that to your life practically. And also I have permission from Brother Saliym Hakiym to cover his book. Intro: The Hidden Language, Journeying Beyond the Veil of Modern Administration. So one of the goals of Brother Saliym Hakiym is to basically peel back the business aspect of the lodge and Grand Lodge system, right? Where you just have the boring business meetings and talking about the minutes and stuff. He wants the esoteric education, of course, like myself, and how they can apply that to an individual who is a seeker of light. Escaping the superficial, the modern distraction. Today's modern Masons are frequently caught up in the rigorous pursuit of titles, degrees, and administrative accolades. In the rapid rush for external validation and social recognition, the core esoteric doctrines, the profound symbols and allegories that actually constitute the craft, are unfortunately overlooked or completely forgotten. The internal work. The history of any organization may inspire civic pride and a sense of belonging, but history alone cannot transform you spiritually. It is only by returning to the true symbolic language of Freemasonry that a builder can move beyond superficial management and begin the real internal work of spiritual refinement and architectural integrity. Brother Saliym here quotes the Bible, 1 John 4:20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? So basically, it's describing the modern climate that we're seeing, right? The dog-eat-dog in the Masonic world as well, where, unfortunately, the truth is that not every brother is a brother, right? So even with me, like the concept of being free from that Grand Lodge system, where I'm free to do my work without somebody who doesn't like me or wants to get me in trouble, they can't do that. I resigned honorably in good standing, but I still am continuing my work as the builder that I am through my lectures, videos, presentations, and I've been doing that for many, many years now. But, that's the unfortunate truth that Saliym is pointing out, that you could be in a position where you're doing something good, and just because somebody might not like you, then, you're in a position where you can get in trouble. So even in the whole modern Grand Lodge system, not every brother is a brother, and that's the unfortunate truth. The three great duties. Freemasonry lays out an undeniable architectural framework for human behavior, rooted firmly in the three great duties: to God, to your neighbor, and to yourself. These are not merely ethical suggestions, but structural pillars required to uphold a functional, living spiritual temple within the individual. Without maintaining all three simultaneously, the entire structure is fatally compromised. You cannot claim to honor the grand architect if your duty to your neighbor is maliciously neglected, nor can you properly serve your neighbor if you constantly fail to govern your own internal passions and systematic weaknesses. Core tenets of brotherly love, the three inseparable duties. Brotherly love is the divine mortar that binds the entire human family together. The esoteric Mason recognizes that we are all created by one almighty parent and inhabit the same planetary lodge, making us fundamentally responsible for one another's continuous well-being and moral upliftment. This tenet permanently obliterates the artificial boundaries of race, class, and sectarian division. By embracing this profound love, We fulfill our duty to our neighbor, providing evidence that our devotion to the invisible Creator is genuine, precisely because it manifests in how we treat the visible creation. And this is only applicable and true for the true Masonic brothers and friends, and not the bigoted racist who are hiding behind the square and compass and aprons or their titles or their 33rds or whatever. I don't consider them real Masons. It's the ones that are true in their action and love for self and each other that are the true Masons. The 24-inch gauge. The 24-inch gauge is one of the first working tools introduced, serving as a master key to time management and spiritual economy. It divides our daily existence into 3 equal parts: 8 hours for our usual vocations, 8 hours for rest, and 8 hours for service to God and a distressed, worthy brother. This is not just a basic scheduling tool, but a strict theological directive. It forces us to frequently ask how we are spending our most precious, non-renewable resource. Are we truly dedicating a third of our lives to the relief of humanity, or are we squandering that sacred time on inherently selfish pursuits? Worship at the visible altar. There is a profound esoteric difference between the altar positioned inside the lodge and the altar of the real world. Many brethren excel at performing memorized rituals within the sacred tiled walls, but they fail to recognize that the true altar is found directly in their daily interactions with their fellow human beings. If your worship and reverence are confined entirely to a physical building, you have entirely missed the lesson. Your neighbor is the visible manifestation of the divine. Treating them with rigorous justice, equity, and compassion is the highest form of worship you can possibly offer to the Grand Architect, and also for each other. I wish for my brother what I wish for myself. The square of virtue. The square is an instrument of precise, undeniable measurement, demanding exactly 90 degrees to function correctly. In Esoteric Masonry, it represents the intersection of 2 critical lines of alignment: the vertical relationship stretching between you and God, and the horizontal relationship between you and your fellow man. Meeting on the square dictates that your actions in both directions are flawlessly aligned. If the vertical line of faith is strong, but the horizontal line of human interaction is crooked or deceitful, the square is utterly broken. True virtue is the perfection of this divine geometric intersection executed in real time. The mirror of nature. Every single tool in the Masonic Lodge is a mirror reflecting the fundamental laws of nature and the mechanics of the universe. The square of virtue teaches us that morality is not arbitrary. It is a structural necessity for maintaining human civilization, much like gravity and physics are to the natural world. When we act in discord with virtue, we introduced devastating structural weaknesses into our spiritual architecture. The Esoteric Mason intimately understands that these symbolic tools are providing a mathematical, infallible blueprint for living in absolute harmony with the surrounding cosmos. The inseparable triad. 1. Duty to God. The vertical duty to the Grand Architect, acknowledging the infinite source of all light, truth, and celestial creation. 2. Duty to your neighbor. The horizontal duty to humanity, actively manifesting divine love through tangible acts of relief, justice, and profound empathy. 3. Duty to self. The internal duty, fiercely maintaining personal integrity and self-discipline to ensure you remain a worthy builder. Duty to God, vertical. The plumb line is the ultimate symbol of uprightness and spiritual gravity. It pulls straight down to the center of the earth, demanding that we stand vertically before our Creator, entirely free from the lean of hypocrisy or moral decay. It serves as the unwavering, objective standard of divine truth. To walk uprightly means maintaining a direct, unbroken line of communication with God. It requires constant self-evaluation to ensure that the gravitational pull of worldly desires does not cause our spiritual posture to slant, preventing the soul from eventually collapsing under its own unbalanced weight. So even during the aspects of Masonic training and ritual, you are always told to stand upright. Duty to neighbor, horizontal. The level represents the undeniable, inescapable truth of human equality. Despite our worldly titles, accumulated wealth, or societal standing, we are all traveling upon the exact same level of time toward that undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns. Death is the grand, inevitable equalizer. Operating on the level means actively dismantling the artificial pedestals we place ourselves upon. It demands that we look to our neighbor directly in the eye, neither looking down in arrogance nor looking up in fear, but recognizing the exact same divine, eternal spark residing within their chest. So basically, looking upon your fellow man with love and empathy, knowing that we are all temporary residents here in this realm. Duty to self, internal. The compasses are vital for internal alignment, utilized to circumscribe our desires and aggressively keep our passions within due bounds with all mankind. Before we can build outwardly, we must establish a central point of absolute moral stability within ourselves and draw a protective boundary around it. Without the compasses, our primal instincts and fragile egos run wild, destroying the harmony of the lodge and the world at large. Duty to self is not about selfishness. It is about rigorous self-governance, ensuring that the ashlar is perfectly smooth before it is placed permanently in the wall. That's why they say govern yourselves accordingly. The principal officers, the internal governance and cosmic layout of the lodge. The senior and junior wardens. The East, wisdom. The worshipful master sits in the East, the infinite source of light. He represents the pillar of wisdom and the rising sun, tasked with illuminating the mind of the brethren and guiding the lodge's esoteric labor. He is the mind and the directing will of the spiritual temple, the West and the South. The senior warden in the West represents the pillar of strength and the setting sun, managing the labor and ensuring workers are paid. The junior warden in the South represents beauty and the meridian sun, carefully supervising the craft during refreshment to prevent any excess. The theological virtues. 1. Faith anchors the soul to the divine. It is not blind belief, but a profound experiential trust in the great architect's blueprint, providing stability amidst the chaotic storms of earthly existence. 2. Hope, the expectation of continuous spiritual evolution. It is the light that pulls the initiate forward through the darkness of ignorance, promising that the rough ashlar can indeed become a perfect stone. 3. Charity, agape, the pinnacle of all virtues. It is the unconditional active love that transcends mere tolerance, demanding that we pour ourselves out for the relief and absolute betterment of our fellow travelers. The pinnacle of charity. One of the 3 theological virtues, charity is undeniably the greatest. Because while faith may be lost in sight and hope ends in fruition, charity extends beyond the grave. It is the very essence of the grand architect, radiating brightly through the daily actions of the esoteric Mason. Charity is not merely dropping a coin in a box. It is a permanent disposition of the heart. It is the willingness to forgive, to mentor, and to elevate those around you. It is the realization that to serve humanity is to actively participate in the continuous beautiful creation of the universe. And in Islam, you can make a masjid, a mosque, where people can pray in. That is a charity where you will always be rewarded anytime somebody prays. A well for drinking water, anytime somebody drinks water from there. Gifting a Quran, anyone somebody reads from there, you get rewarded. Even with what I've done and what Brother Saliym has done with his books, what I've done with the lectures, videos, and books, that even after my life is over, whoever seeks these specific topics and knowledge, they will continue to find the enlightenment. And I've basically planted these seeds and trees along with Brother Saliym Hakiym, that after our passing from this realm, Allah will continue to reward us. The motive, core tenets, brotherly love and relief. The tenets of brotherly love, relief, and truth form the foundational motive for all Masonic action. Brotherly love breaks down the historical walls of division, while relief is the active physical manifestation of that love during times of sudden distress and profound need. The anchor of truth. Truth is a divine attribute and the foundation of every virtue. Without truth, brotherly love becomes mere sentiments, right? And relief becomes a hollow gesture. Truth demands rigorous honesty with oneself and the world, systematically cutting through the illusions of the ego. And these teachings are great to be applied practically to one's life. And you don't have to be a Grand Lodge or Lodge Mason. Just as a human being, and the duties that we have for our fellow man is we have to help each other, right? In the Quran, it tells us, why are you not helping one another? So if you have the capability to help someone, do it. And knowing that one day you're dropping that seed and it will grow into a tree and nourish you in the future. But my experience practically with the Grand Lodges and lodges in general in more than one country and jurisdiction is that during moments of need, they are never there for you. So for them, I consider all of that hollow speech. So true esoteric Masons who truly practice what they preach, it's like finding a needle in a haystack in today's environment. So you don't have to join any of that stuff to follow those teachings. If you're a good person and you have that, love and light within you, then you have it within you, right? Some people have it, some people don't. Or joining or leaving something is not going to make any difference. Either you have it or you don't. So if you have it within you, then use that light to make your life better and the life of your fellow human beings. The method, cardinal virtues, prudence and temperance. The method of achieving our esoteric goals is governed by the cardinal virtues. Prudence is the practical wisdom guiding our choices, while temperance is the fierce restraint applied to our affections and passions, keeping the mind clear for higher philosophical labor. Fortitude and justice. Fortitude is the unwavering courage to endure spiritual trials and physical pain without abandoning our principles. Justice is the strict, unbending standard of right, ensuring that we render unto every man his exact due, maintaining the precise equilibrium of the universe. The completed temple. When the tenets provide the true motive, the cardinal virtues provide the strict method, and the theological virtues provide the divine objective. The spiritual temple is finally complete. The rough ashlar has been thoroughly chipped away, leaving a perfectly smooth stone ready for the master builder's use. This is the ultimate profound goal of esoteric Freemasonry. We are not just building social clubs or focusing on administrative accolades. We are constructing a silent, invisible temple within the depths of the soul, a sacred place where the great architect of the universe can eternally dwell. And that is the truth, God Almighty is within ourselves, and we must tune into that energy, right? Most people, especially Masons, they use the excuse of imperfection to excuse bad behavior, right? But we were made in the image and likeness of God. We are perfect. If you look at Enoch, he walked with God, right? Prophet Idris, Enoch, peace be upon him, who was elevated to the heavens. Even in the Islamic Sufi sciences, Allah placed the 99 qualities of himself and the breath, the divine breath, into man. That's why all the angels were instructed to bow before Adam, because after God, the highest ranking creature in the universe is man, and we are the vicegerent of God on this earth. So it's our responsibility to take care of the world, each other, and ourselves. So we can't use imperfection as an excuse, right, to be neglectful in our attitudes, in our dealings with self and each other, and because we are perfect and we need to strive to be perfect. And that is the bottom line. Theology of the cosmos, as above, so below. Theology of the cosmos. Now, the Masonic Lodge is intricately designed as a microcosm of the entire universe. Its dimensions stretch from east to west, north to south, from the surface of the earth to the highest heavens. It is a cosmological map designed to teach the initiate that their exact place within the grand design, right? Every officer, every piece of furniture, and every ritualistic movement mathematically mirrors the celestial mechanics. The esoteric Mason studies these movements not as mere tradition, but as an ancient science of spiritual reintegration, aligning the human soul with the rhythm of the stars. The stewards and the elements. In the Esoteric Lodge, the Stewards represent the foundational elemental forces of nature, the terrestrial plane. They carry the cornucopias, symbolizing the earth's abundance. But deeper still, they represent the raw materials of existence before they are refined by the presence of the Spirit. They prepare the candidate, meaning they govern the physical vessel before it is introduced to the spiritual light of the lodge. Recognizing the profound role of the stewards is recognizing that all higher spiritual work must absolutely begin with properly managing our earthly elemental nature. I hope you all enjoyed benefiting from the teachings of Brother Saliym Hakiym, The Hidden Language of the Craft, and I encourage you to get his books, study his books, and pass his teachings on to others. And you can get the book from the Book Patch website. I have the link displayed here, and I will put it in the description below as well, so it's easy for you to access his work. Thank you for watching. If any questions or comments, please email me at salmansheikh911@gmail.com. And all my work is under the copyright laws of fair use for the purpose of free speech, education, and entertainment purposes. Thank you so much. All rights reserved.